Hello, it's Sunday, the 25th of January 2026, and this is video number 7 in my series of videos where I set about just expressing my thoughts off the cuff with no preparation for 10 to 15 minutes. I'm in the greenhouse today because it is pouring rain outside. Normally I just prefer to be walking along and looking at the scenery around me or whatever, but this is what's left in the greenhouse since last summer. Not very much. Anyhow, I'll start off today just by saying that on Friday was Grandfather's Day. At least, I don't know how, is that a universal thing or if it was just a local thing here where the local primary school had a day called Grandfather's Day, and since Granny was working on that day, Granda was nominated to accompany my little granddaughter aged 7, I think. We went to the local Catholic church and had a mass there, and then we were invited to the primary school itself for tea and biscuits. And as it turned out, I was very pleasantly surprised by that, because it was just lovely, touching little scene where all the children, some of the older ones, I suppose 10-year-olds, read out the highlights of days out that they'd had with grandparents and so on. And the younger ones sang a couple of choruses and said little recitations together and made grandparents feel important for the day. I found it rather touching, and I'm very easily triggered for, always have been, that I'm the first one to cry at a weepy movie, and I had to resort to the tissues even at that little gathering, just at the innocence of the children. It's so beautiful just to be in the company of these little innocent children and their complete trust in you as an adult. And I really just enjoyed that experience, and I suppose it caused me to think of what's ahead of you all in the world. And one could possibly take a dismal outlook at the, considering all the things that we can look at in the world that could be worrying, and you think of your grandchildren and what is there for them in the world to come. I refuse to take any pessimistic attitude in that regard. I just have this hope, and not only hope, this knowing, I've had it all my life, that things in this world are going to change. And I've felt it right back from my mid-20s very strongly, that although for whatever reason way back then I began to, I had a strong feeling of going back to a simpler way of life, back to nature, back away from the complications of the modern world, and also had a premonition of looking at the world around me, of the craziness of it all, this constant treadmill of going out to earn money and come home in the evening and back up and round and round and round. You may have heard my son's song, Round and Round, So What, that he composed. And there was just a certain amount of that in it. And back in those days, I just looked at it all and I thought, this isn't living, this isn't the world the way it should be. And I had a strong feeling back then, without having done any study on it as such, that we were controlled by the banking system. And crazy as it all looked at me then, I started to think that this is all going to collapse. This can't go on. It is too crazy to go on. And I began even voicing things like that at that time, and perhaps putting other people in the same pessimistic outlook as myself. And looking back now, I say, well, I'm still expecting that bank crash, and it's still ahead of me. But I've been living that way to some degree for 30 years, but it seems even more imminent now than it did then. But the way I'm feeling about it now is that, yes, we are seeing difficulties in the financial system and so on, all the climbing costs and so on, because of the way the whole system is set up, is that the money that we own, or the money that we earn, is constantly being eroded by inflation. And that is because of the central bank system and the move by the powers that be towards a central control. And yes, I do believe there is a war going on now, and has been going on for the last number of years, particularly by the whole Donald Trump administration. And the aim of it is to take the control from the central bankers. And I've studied that, and I'm still studying it through an organisation called Gemstone University. You can look that up and find lots of videos about it and so on. But to me it looks like a very controlled takedown, and it's imminently upon us, and it's probably going to be painful. But it is controlled as far as I can see, and not expecting it to be devastating insofar as it will lead to, hunger and people out in the streets in vast numbers and so on. There may be some element of that, because it seems to me that in order for people to wake up to the reality of it, that we are going to have to feel that pain. And when the people do wake up, when they realise the control that we've been under by the establishment, all the people have to do really is to not consent and to say, no, I don't approve. Who are these controllers anyway? Who are the whole establishment? If you look up, I just listened to a very good video this morning from Mark Atwood. You can look up Mark Atwood on YouTube, and you'll find an excellent interview with Mark Atwood and Andrew Bridgen. And that gives a very good picture of the kind of illusion that we've been living under with regard to the people who are in Westminster and in the Dáil and in Stormont. I'm sure we get lots of MPs and so on who go along there and mean well and want to do the right thing. But the whole structure is actually controlled from higher up, and it's almost impossible for people with a good heart to go in and actually do good and to be brave enough to stand up. Now, Andrew Bridgen, as far as I can see, is one such character, and by listening to that video, if you haven't encountered him before, you'll get a very good idea of my picture of the world. And also from Mark Atwood. Helen and I went last May down to Boyle in County Roscommon to see Mark Atwood's health centre, which he and a friend have built up together. And it's an alternative to the health systems that we're familiar with. Now, I'm not about to start knocking our health system in total, insofar as if I'm in a serious accident or I break my leg or whatever, that's the place I'm going to go, because people do fantastic things there, for emergency treatments. Indeed, my two children wouldn't be with me today except for the care that they received prematurely in hospital many years ago. But what our system seems to fail, as far as I'm concerned, is in preventable medicines and good advice with regard to diet and nutrition and so on. But also the health centre in Boyle in County Roscommon has fantastic technologies and treatments that are not used within the health service. And I suppose they're expensive, but Mark Atwood does make the offer that if you've got serious problems and you really need help, that if you go along there and discuss it with them, if you're really broke and can't afford it, they'll make some arrangement for you. And you can find that health centre by looking up Live, L-I-V-E, Live 5D Health in County Roscommon. I expect that'll be enough for you to find the website, and you can explore it and see what things are available there. As I say, Helen and I went there and tried out some of the treatments, but you can't really improve anything by one treatment, and we were only there for one day, and we used a few of the things just out of curiosity, the red light therapy and hyperbaric oxygen and PEMF something and well, just various treatments that have fantastic possibilities for healing all kinds of things. And Mark has recently published a protocol for anyone who's a bit concerned if they had any side effects from things that were administered back in 2021 as a result of everything that went on at that time. Now, if you explore his videos on YouTube, I think you'll find a short video with reference to that. If you have any difficulty finding that, I should be able to find it for you. I'll maybe try and post a link below this video for anyone who wants to look it up. Anyhow, I'm heading off today at some time in the next couple of hours after I have a wee run around the shore with my friends. I'm going off for a meal out with family to some big restaurant in Belfast. I forget the name of it, around Dundonald somewhere. Not something to do every day, so I'm looking forward to that there, and the grandchildren and all will be along, so I'm looking forward to a pleasant day out. So that's all I want to say for today, and if you have any comments to make, leave them in the commentary below, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you very much for listening, and bye for now.